Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman, for your most inspiring introductory words. Esteemed members of the government of the Canton of St. Gallen, members of the faculty, ladies and gentlemen, but above all, and we are all of them, friends of the St. Gallen Symposium. It is very unusual that the chairman of the foundation board says a few words at the beginning of the symposium. But as we wanted to be entrepreneurs, we also said we should innovate. And I would like to talk a little bit about what is new at this symposium, so you will have a better understanding, and hopefully you will support the changes we have, together with the students, introduced. But let me first say welcome, also on behalf of the Foundation Board, to all of you to the 40th St. Gallen Symposium. Jubilees are normally occasions not only to celebrate, or maybe primarily to celebrate, but also very often to introduce change. And as you will notice, much has changed at this year's St. Gallen Symposium compared to previous years. We will not be marking its 40th anniversary with fireworks, which is a bit difficult in this rainy day anyhow, or other one-off actions. Instead, the Board of Trustees of the St. Gallen Foundation for International Studies, which serves as the supporting and maybe a little bit supervisory body of the International Students Committee, has invested in the structure and quality of the symposium. And let me just say one word. When Wolfgang Schürer and his colleagues started to say we should have a response to other students who had other ideas in their minds at the time, and we should give a more productive response and demonstrate that students can do better, things have changed dramatically. At that time, I think we were somewhat exclusive. There were not that many conferences around us. Today, we are challenged everywhere, from Davos to many other places. And of course, some of the old formula may still work, and I think your presence demonstrates that. But it is time to think through it and to focus again on what makes St. Gallen so unique, namely the dialogue, maybe even the debate between generations. And I think we put much more focus on that. Everything that has been modified and changed is really meant to make the St. Gallen Symposium more attractive for you and to foster debate on the central topics of our time. And of course, we would very much, as our chairman said, we should be encouraged to challenge each other, to think through to the bitter end sometimes, something you can do much more easily in academic circles than very often in business life or even in politics. All of us here work in highly varied areas of business and politics, and each year we come to St. Gallen with the shared expectation of finding an environment of debate and discussions that we are glad to contribute to above and, I would say, beyond our professional routines. Why not have politicians talk about business issues, or business people talk about political matters? I think this kind of exchange is very fruitful and very productive. The St. Gallen Symposium is dedicated to examining the different perspectives on today's key issues against the background of a rigorous standard of academic discipline, as one would expect at a renowned university. We want to hear and experience what the students of today think and how they, as the leaders of tomorrow, intend to tackle the challenges of our time. And I think it's fair to say that if you look around in the world, there's room for improvement. And maybe we need new answers to many of the challenges we are confronted with. This year, the group of students organizing the symposium, the International Students Committee, has identified, in my view, a very focused and timely topic, namely entrepreneurs, agents of change. For its 40th anniversary, the ISC couldn't have chosen a topic that better reflects the entrepreneurial spirit that has guided the St. Gallen Symposium over the past decades. But without a doubt, this topic is also of highest practical relevance for all of us, and I'm really looking forward to engage in an open and insightful debate with the leaders of tomorrow. Let me give you 4 reasons why this is so. First, the stimulus to growth from new entrepreneurial ideas and firms is even more relevant now that our economies are struggling, especially in this part of the world and in the United States, from the crisis, and we face the prospects of lower trend growth in the global economy until household and official sector balances normalize and global imbalances are reduced. Second, and no less important, the aging societies of the West will only have a chance to keep pace with the rising powers if they can leverage and market their capacity to innovate and turn it into new products. Third, in today's increasingly complex and vibrant environment, the prerequisites for entrepreneurial success have become more demanding. Although it may have been sufficient in the past to have a good idea, today's entrepreneurs are facing fierce global competition and need to turn their ideas into viable business models in a short and much shorter span of time. This requires a broad range of business skills, starting with organizational talent and financial expertise, and ending with the ability to work together with existing firms and other business partners, and very often working together in different cultural backgrounds. And finally, research has shown that whether or not entrepreneurialism can flourish depends on a complex set of factors. For instance, we have learned that the society's willingness to tolerate opinions that deviate from the mainstream, in other words, maverick thinking, is one of the necessary factors. But clearly, we are far from understanding the complexity of the issue, which means additional research and discussion is still needed. And those who are more in research know that even 80 years later, we are still discussing the causes of the Great Depression. Now, actually, a few months after the financial crisis, economic crisis, we think we should have all the answers of the causes of this crisis. Maybe it's sometimes premature to jump to too early conclusions. To cover these and other issues and to give us a fresh insight into entrepreneurial spirit from various perspectives, the ISC has carefully selected an impressive lineup of speakers. Additionally, the discussions have been given a clear structure in order to facilitate a conceptual orientation. And let me talk about the different clusters, something which is new. Cluster A, how I did it, the background story, examines the individual entrepreneur's personal histories. Cluster B, and we'll all find that in the program, is the push from below, presents the next generation of entrepreneurs. Cluster C is the fields of opportunities. It opens the gate to the highly diverse and unimagined possibilities of entrepreneurial work. And finally, Cluster D, the entrepreneurial environment, shows entrepreneurs within the context of the various sets of political and social conditions. In addition to an improved thematic structure with greater discipline and more interactive session formats, a new group of participants has been introduced called the topic leaders. Topic leaders will serve as go-betweens for the different groups of participants. The representatives of the business community, the leaders of tomorrow, and members of the faculty. To facilitate discussions between these groups, topic leaders may be business executives, professors, or journalists, but they are always experts in their fields, as a quick look at the list of our topic leaders will confirm. Among the participant group students, there have also been a number of changes. This year, participation as one of the leaders of tomorrow has been limited to graduate and postgraduate students. We felt a little bit that very young students, which have practically no experience, neither in academic environment nor in practical life, are maybe not the best counterparts to have this sort of debate. That's why we have started to limit to graduate and postgraduate students. And I'm pretty sure you will have a completely different content and substance coming in the debates from them. They have been joined by young entrepreneurs and young researchers, people who have already gained some professional experience. In terms of quality, we have an excellent group of participants here as well today. Change on this scale cannot be fully implemented overnight. Ladies and gentlemen, you are probably all too familiar with this from your professional lives as management executives. We have produced the first model design and will be working to improve on it over the coming years. For this, we rely on your feedback. I therefore call upon you not only to provide us with your comments and constructive, of course, criticism, but also to contribute your dedication and enthusiasm to the 40th St. Gallen Symposium experience. Once again, thank you for being here. I wish us all an interesting, enlightening, and productive symposium with numerous enriching, stimulating debates here at the University of St. Gallen. Enjoy the symposium.